No.
Just to address people just saying it, oh my God, I can't believe he went on China Daily.
Oh, you want to talk about that?
Dude, I will go on any media outlet that asks me for an interview.
Hell yeah, man.
Obviously, it's going to be an attack piece like it was in the Sydney Morning Herald, and then I will troll them mercilessly. But actually, even then, when James O'Doherty contacted me to go into the Daily Telegraph, I wanted to answer his questions. He was the one that wasn't asking them.
Yeah.
That's the difference here. It's just at least when you're going on to Chinese propaganda news outlets, they at least air what you said. There's a bit of a step up from Australia's media.
I have to say, it is
what
really
I'm just saying.
funny.
It's just everybody going like, oh my God, I can't believe how bad the system of information is in China. It's exactly the same here. It's got a few different steps in it. There's not much difference. They're really like, think about it. In terms of the Chinese state owning all the press in China, you have two competing factions here that are constantly vying for power in the ruling party, which I think actually probably wouldn't be that far into China. I don't know that much about their media landscape, but that probably is happening there. Probably is wings of the media owned by different factions of that same party. That's exactly what, as we were just describing, what is happening between Nine Fairfax and the Murdoch Press now. And ABC, it is the state-run media of China.
True.
Yeah,
I mean,
and and this is not coming from Jordan. This is coming from me. For all those motherfuckers that are complaining about the pod being like anti-Uyghurs and shit. Fuck you, dude. We're not. None of that was against Uyghurs. All of that was that world powers always act the same. Like one guy, I think there's like a video that's going around. And one guy was just saying, well, the U.S. doesn't have any detention camps that keep Muslims illegally.
No, they've just killed 27 million Muslims.
They do. It's called fucking Guantanamo Bay, dude. Like, they do. This is the thing. Like, it's exactly the same. And it's not that, like, the U.S. are more evil than China. World powers behave exactly the same. When you talk about one country, China, which is up and coming, or equally evil as any other great power, and you choose to ignore all of the other shit that's been happening, there's someone that has to say, look, I'm not saying that what's happening over there is good, but it's happening all over. You're just refusing to look at some of the other areas. Anyway, sorry, that was my take. And obviously, none of this is coming from Jordan. This is coming from me.
And I'll just add this, when we were just talking about it. Look, Chinese news will air Chomsky's propaganda model. The press here most certainly won't. Even when I am talking about Chomsky's propaganda model and using events that they reported on as examples, what will they do? They will clip the two little sentences that I use as the example and put that out and run a smear campaign on that and get rid of all the context around it about how the system works.
Yeah.
They completely devoid all of that. China Daily just ran a 15-minute documentary about how Western propaganda works. Now, obviously, it's not hitting the right demographic, but at least they did it.
is it
You're not going to see that.
Is it only aired in China?
No, actually, you know what? It's on YouTube now, so it's available to everybody. So they just did a 15-minute recap of what Herman and Chomsky have been talking about for the last 40 years. We have talked to people in the press at Nine Fairfax about Chomsky's propaganda model. You know what they do? They just smugly dismiss it as, he doesn't understand how hard it is for us. What is your job again? Sitting around like a seagull waiting for drops from politicians that we're told to report their press releases on?
I mean,
that's pretty much why I went on there, because they said, what do you think about this Australian think tank that is that is paid by a bunch of weapons manufacturers across the planet? And I said, well, I think it's pretty bad. Just like I'm saying here now.
Did you point out some of China's ill?
Yeah, and that's the other thing that is amazing about it. I just sat there and talked to the Chinese press and said, look, I am not saying, and the Chinese press was agreeing with it as well. This is the other thing.
Really?
They were saying, look, I think that this is their view, talking to them, which was what was really interesting about it. I think that China understands that their government isn't perfect. They understand that their government is authoritarian. They understand that it has had human rights violations. I actually think that they have a better picture of the globe than we do. Yeah. Because they actually hear critical messages about not just, like, I don't know where they're getting their critical messages of the Chinese government or whatever, but they seem to have this better view of it, that it's just like, they see it for what it is, which is Americans seem to have this view that it is good versus evil. China seems to have this view that it is two superpowers colliding. That is a more accurate portrayal of what is happening.
Yes.
And none of them makes the other one
Well,
superior morally, but like at least one of them has a better understanding because good versus evil gets you into shit situations. And yeah, like look, the other thing is when it comes to all of these political issues in China, like the Uyghurs, there's incredible repression over there. None of that is deniable. But that's something that the Chinese should be looking at themselves, and we should be supporting them. When it comes to us living in Australia or wherever the fuck we're living, it's better of us to like look into ourselves and see what we're doing wrong. Just because I criticize, I don't know, like the Australian government, or coming from fucking Pakistan, I criticize the Pakistani government. It's not that I hate them more than anyone else. It's just that I relate to them. I live in Australia, so I'm more interested in issues over here. And if I'm in China, then fuck yes, I'm going to be talking about the government in China. It's just like, it kind of looks bad when you're like some Australian guy that like never looks at any of the issues in your own country and are constantly like, but China, look at the China. University of Queensland now has this fucking tie up with China. It's like, dude, maybe, but look into like how your daily life is actually being affected. How much of that is a contribution from China, and how much of that is a contribution of you just being a lazy bum and not looking at issues around you. Chomsky constantly criticizes US. Do you think he loves China and hates the US? He's fucking American. That's why he's doing it. Anyway, sorry.
No,
surely
I'm
there's
really glad that you reiterated that, which is that looking to your own backyard, and the point that we are constantly trying to reiterate about China is there is a lot of misinformation that is spread about it, first off. But the second thing is, why is that information being spread? And it is because we are just District 1 of the US empire. You just need to know the reality, just the bare basics of how the chess game is playing out. It's pretty much all we're saying here. Now, to the person that just said, if this was China, Friendlyjordies wouldn't have a platform. Wrong, because in China, I'd be pro the government.
Yeah, you guys are assuming this guy's like a perfectly moral man. It's not true. He loves authoritarianism. In fact, both of these guys love
Someone in the
authoritarianism.
comments did just say Friendlyjordies, tanky confirmed. I've got to say, I'm pretty happy that I was able to pass through 7 years without being noticed.
I mean, yeah, like I can't agree with all of it because I like being able to like play music live and stuff. But these aren't priorities for these
live
men.
in China. It's just you're going to have to replace guitars with shit karaoke.
Yeah, I don't like those.
And you're gonna have to wear shoes that have lights in them, because otherwise it doesn't work.
How else are people going to pay attention?
Yeah, so
But
like,
And also, you're going to have to change what you're constantly singing about, which is usually just people that you didn't like from work. You're going to have to talk about how awesome wheat yields are.
doesn't really appeal to me. That's the problem.
Doesn't it? I thought it would.
That's so
Love
much.
food.
Yeah, but not wheat, not in its bare bones elements. Like that's not. Have you ever tried eating just
that is
wheat?
the difference in the factions between Friendlyjordies and the cuck faction and the base faction here. The base faction, consisting of Ali and I, really like wheat yields.
Just straight wheat.
just
I like it when they're flattened out a bit, you know.
We do have factions of the Friendlyjordies empire. Can I say that? Even though there's like 5 people in it, empire.
And the cucked faction is going nuts about all of the stuff that is going on Twitter right now.
And
They
they
are
hate me.
really losing it.
They hate me.
But wait,
and
who
for
are the
record,
cucked
they hate
faction?
Christo too.
Who are the cucked faction? Which ones? You don't have to
don't
say
know
the
if we're allowed to
names.
name
Yeah,
Don't
let's
say the
not
names.
take
Just
names.
imply. Just vaguely so that I
Anyone
can.
behind a computer.
Female you hates it,
Oh, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
and Pewds hates it.
Oh, that's it?
Huh?
Those are the two in that
Oh, who
faction?
else is in the cuck faction?
Yeah.
No.
Am I?
The editors dither in and out of the cuck faction.
Okay.
That's 2. That's
You are in the base faction most of the time, but in your old age, you are softening.
We are literally
No.
talking about
I'm
our
not.
tribe
I'm
now.
not. I am not softening. It's just that as soon as there's outright support for like dictatorships, I'm like, that's not softening.